Well, hello. I'm Chloe Jaco. I'm Senior Vice President with CGL Companies, and I am our Director of Planning. So I have been conducting visioning sessions on pretty much all of my projects for at least the last, I'd say, 15 to 20 years. There's a lot of pre-planning that goes into place before you get to a visioning session. We typically try to make sure we really do structure what topics we would want to cover ahead of time to give the group some maybe understanding of the current situation for the project, and or maybe even give them some insights into what the industry trends are on various topics, just to kind of give them some information before we even start the session. So I think as facilitators, there's a lot of due diligence of making sure you kind of give a really good summary of kind of what the project is about, maybe the challenges that got them to the point of where they're at. Give them some nuggets about, industry trends or things that are happening, kind of those exciting opportunities, and then structure the exercises that you want to do or the group breakouts around those topics and really facilitate and kind of help them stay focused on what you're trying to accomplish that day. So a facilitator's job throughout all the sessions is to make sure that everybody is included and voices are heard. That's something that you really have to make sure. You don't want any wallflowers, you don't want somebody just sitting in the very back row, not commenting. So that's why we do these different exercises, because everybody is involved in that. And, like even the Post-it note exercises, even if someone's quiet, they'll write down their thoughts on the Post-it note and go put it up on the board. So you have to kind of monitor and make sure everybody's participating and filling in. And then in a roundtable discussions, you're just going to have to go around and make sure that everybody is being included. So we actually do produce kind of a output document after the visioning session. It's kind of like a summary, and it'll kind of highlight the entire process and what was, what exercises were conducted with the group. And it'll summarize, what statements came out of it, whether it's the mission statement or guiding principles or touchstones or vision or whatever the right term is, whatever we got out of that group that we wanted to use. And we kind of put that in a format and publish that. And then we also make sure that any of the project materials reiterate those goals or, guiding statements, whatever, so that throughout the rest of the project, the whole team will refer back to those to make sure, are we on target? Are we accomplishing these goals and target? And that kind of becomes your little measuring stick to make sure those items are being realized. And I mean, we've even had a few clients that take the resulting goals and literally, print them out and like put them on the wall so that everybody sees them every day throughout the process. It is a great touchstone, is what I call it, for the team and for the client throughout the process. It is hard to get a group to really focus in beyond, I would say, 4 hours. After 4 hours, it just kind of gets hard to keep everybody focused. So, it's like some sweet spot between 3 to 4 hours, because you really are trying to keep the group kind of focused and intense. So you don't want to take a long breaks. But in today's world, you're going to have to plan for a little break somewhere in the middle for people, to maybe check their phone or, just take a quick breather for 10 or 15 minutes. But you want to keep the momentum going and the intensity. So you've got to keep it focused and moving. And I would say you don't want it to be too long, and you want it to make sure that obviously you got some snacks and beverages, and so everybody's kind of content while they're there. I do think that doing them first thing in the morning is better. I've done them all during different times of day, but I think if you can get everybody kind of first thing when they're fresh, before you're starting to get into the workday, try to capture them, from 8 to 11, so to speak. I think that really is the best time to hopefully get some focus and do it. We've had some clients lately that have asked, can you send some questions out ahead of time? And so we have been trying to structure kind of like the agenda that we're going to use for that group, and maybe give a little description of some of the exercises, and so that the participants can maybe, think about a little bit before they show up there and already have some thoughts. So I think that's another good lesson learned. So visioning sessions are done in a variety of ways. I would say during COVID kind of did redefine how we addressed those. We actually did one virtually, all of it virtually during that time. And that was interesting and that was fun. I mean, that you have to kind of establish rules for a virtual meeting like that. And that's what I did at the beginning. It was like just very specific rules of how the group was to be seen and engaged and heard. And again, that goes on the facilitator. It's a lot of oversight and work to make sure everybody's in the process and participating. Lately, we've done some hybrids as well. That's a little challenging. You could have a group in person and then some joining virtually. Then you're going to need a facilitator helping man the computer, getting comments or chat or flagging hands and making sure they're involved. And then some in person as well. So it truly has been a mixture of all the three. I would say, we always love it if everybody can be there in person because you can get a little bit better synergy. But in today's world, we realize, you're going to have to be accommodating depending on what is needed.